Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your money and career reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius, money and career, Aquarius. Aquarius, money and career, Aquarius. Aquarius, money and career, Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Ooh, okay. And show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. Beautiful. Okay. So think of this as a tree. This is the bark and the roots, and this is the branches and the foliage. So let's see what our roots have to say. We have the Four of Wands and the Knight of Wands, so a progression in our career that makes us very happy. We also have to be very mindful of things getting a little bit out of hand with the Knight of Wands. So this is fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This could be with a fire sign energy. This could also be within ourselves that we get really excited. We want things to move a certain way, so we charge off without thinking. This is a warning against that, very much so. Then we have the King of Wands, so the Knight becomes the King. This is the progressive thought, okay? So this is the progression of the thought process that goes from being very young, very impulsive, to more mature, more thought through, more knowledgeable, because the Ouroboros here is eating its own tail. So it's the knowledge becoming wisdom, becoming what we consume. And we consume that circle of the knowledge that we accumulate, becoming the wisdom that we live by, and then a new us emerging as that wisdom builds us. So here, there's power in that. There's definite power in that, and we see that in our career. But there is always going to be this urge during this time to just want to charge forward, just want to go after where we think we're supposed to be, instead of stepping back and saying, okay, what do I need? What am I taking too personally? What am I not taking personally enough? You know, what is it that I desire? Because we're listening to everybody else, and everybody else right now isn't going to be the best guiding force for us. It's not saying don't listen to the people that we love, that honor us, that respect us, that have been there with us. It's saying don't listen to the people who, like, everybody has an opinion. I remember a boss of mine when I was really young said opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and they usually spew shit. And I was just so shocked, and excuse my language for that, but I thought it was the funniest thing in the whole entire world. And that's what we have to remember here, especially in the workplace, especially when we're going after our careers and what we want and the passion of us. We could even feel that, oh, well, I'm really passionate about this, but there's something wrong with it. It's like, no, there isn't something wrong with it. We need to move forward towards our happiness, towards our goals, towards our desires. And it's not going to be the same as everybody else, but we can get into that mindset of, I'm trapped. Like, you know, this is the way it has to be. I have to be confined like this because it's in our own mind. And it can also be a little bit of depression coming in, self-doubt, worry, a sense of putting ourselves down instead of building ourselves up. So do be mindful of this. It moves us then, to the Nine of Swords. The repeat of the number 9 here shows that we're coming close to a completion of a cycle, but it's it's doubts and fears because we have been hurt, because we have put our faith in people who we shouldn't have. We have, had people who were supposed to celebrate us but couldn't follow through, couldn't be there for us, just weren't able to give the way that they were supposed to. These could be caregivers, they could be parents, they could be, friends, lovers. They were supposed to be on our side, and they weren't. And so it leaves a hole. It leaves a hole, especially when we're little and we're growing up with this. And it leaves a sense of, what haven't I done right enough to be loved, to be respected, to be cared for, to be nourished. And that's going to be something that we're going to say with the Knight of Wands. It's like, but let me prove to you. Let me charge forward. I'm doing this to show everyone. And the Knight of Wands is like, no, step back. The power when we see the Knight of Wands is like, step back and think it through. And that's going to be really important during this time, Aquarius, to step back and think it through. Now we're going to see our chakra energy during this time. Aquarius, money and career. Aquarius, money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. It's universal light. And that's really beautiful. So we're going to have a hard time, and we can see it within these cards, especially here. We're going to have a hard time embracing our universal light, our soul star chakra that's located 6 inches above our crown, to shine with vibrance, with beauty, with intensity. So here there's a real sense of needing to step back, needing to say, what is the light that I desire within my life? How am I the beacon of this light? It's kind of like being a lighthouse, with the warning against the rocks that we could get hit on. So here it's divinity guiding us forward and warning us against the hardships, the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the angers, the upsets. And this is a time where we need to listen to that light, and we need to listen to that beauty, and we need to listen to that soul's understanding. And it leads us then to the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. So what is the energy that Aquarius needs to be mindful of for money and career? What is the energy that Aquarius needs to be mindful of for money and career? Angels, ooh. So these three popped right out. So the Princess of Swords, which is air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The Queen of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And the Hierophant, which is Taurus energy, time frame April 20th to May 20th. Now, with all of these, it's not simply saying be mindful of these people. It's saying be mindful of this energy. Whenever the princess comes up, Spirit always says, oh, they're being a princess. And that always makes me laugh just a little bit. Now, we could be told that we're being a princess in the way that we're thinking, the way that we want to push things forward. Because we're kind of emotionally vulnerable during this time, we'll take it very much to heart and say, well, I really shouldn't complain, or I shouldn't say anything because they're going to think poorly of me, or maybe I am making too much of something. It's like, no, trust your instincts, trust yourself, trust what you are building. Make sure you have a record of it so that when you move forward, you don't look like, oh, I'm just making things up. It's like, no, I can show you. And so here, we're also going to deal with somebody who is verbally, mentally, the way that they're developing things, acting like a princess. They want what they want. They'll throw their hissy fit until they get it. And they take away from the really valuable insight that they may have at times, and they do have at times, because they can't step back from things. Everything becomes way too emotional. So do be mindful of this. The Queen of Wands, this is somebody who wants to succeed. And we all want to succeed. But when the King and the Queen of Wands comes in as an energy we have to be mindful of, it's like at any cost. I will roll up my sleeves. I will get my hands dirty. I will shove you out of the way just to show that I'm here. I'm here. I'm on the ground. I'm doing this. But it's like for the photo shoot. It's for when it really... It's for the publicity, not for when it really matters. So we're going to be dealing with people who, in our careers, they'll push us out of the way. They'll be like, oh, I got this, because they know somebody's coming, because they know that they can get a bonus because of this, because they know that this will make them look good. If they ring up this person, they're going to get that extra sale because they've already helped them along the way. So here, it's like, okay, just be mindful of this. And it's like if you work off a commission and helping that person is important, but this is the person who will, like, if you write your name, like I know in some shops, they write their name on something, it's like, oh, I helped you. They'll be the one that takes that slip out of your hand, says, oh, here's my card, I helped you. And because they helped you for like 5 seconds, whereas the other one helped you for way longer. So just be mindful of this, really, really seriously. So, yeah. And then we have the Hierophant. This is a person who's very grounded, very stable, very much needs things to be done a certain way. There are rules, there are regulations. This is the institution, and this is what needs to be done. Now, during this time, because we feel as if we're not measuring up, and that's just going to be something that we have to be mindful of during this time. When it comes to the rules, we're going to want to follow the rules to the letter. And this can actually be a bit detrimental to us because we're going to miss opportunities because it's like, oh, well, no, it had to be just this amount of words, or it had to be just like this. And Spirit's saying here, no, don't get so caught up in the fine print of it all. Let things be created, because there is this power of prosperity and blessings and bounty and beauty coming forward. There is this sense of, I get to celebrate. I get to have this energy come forward. The Four of Wands is a celebration of self. It is a moving forward in our career. It can be moving jobs, changing homes, relocating for things. But it is a sense of, I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating what I've accomplished. I'm celebrating who I am. And because we want this so badly during this time, we will have a tendency to just charge forward. And as we're charging forward, we're going to make mistakes that if we say, oh, I could have thought that through a little bit more, we wouldn't have. Now, we can also be caught up in somebody and with somebody at work who is just astoundingly charismatic. I mean, like, oh my goodness, so charismatic, so charming. We might, we might want to get involved with them romantically. This person here, not a person to start a relationship with or have a long-term relationship with. This is a person who would be really fun, but there's not much more there. So if you're thinking, okay, this will lead to something, no, it most likely won't. Or if it does lead to something, it's not going to be the something that you want. During this time, we need to think things through. Look at the goals that we have, not just winning the battles, but looking at the war, looking at what we're trying to succeed at, what we're trying to call forward, where we're trying to have our success, and being really honest about that with ourselves. It leads us to power. Now, this power comes with doubt. So what's really interesting is that we're transforming, but we're really confused about that transformation, especially within our career. We're really confused of, can I be this assertive? Do I have power here? Will I always be just, X, Y, Z? What we're going to see here is we're going to see a powerful shift in ourselves. And as we are doing this, we're going to have a lot of the insecurities that have hurt us, that have overwhelmed us, that have silenced us coming up. And there's a sense of, I've been through these battles before. I've been through these heartbreaks, these pains, these disappointments. Why is it that they're hurting me so much now? Why is it that they're silencing me so much now? And why it is because, life gets complicated, life gets hard. There are times we're just a little bit more emotionally vulnerable. And these are usually on the times where we're going through a transformation. And what we're doing here is we're going through that transformation to look at what our happily ever after would be. So I love to use the example, one of my brothers, he lives in the city, and he'll probably always live in the city. I always thought when I was younger, that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a big city person. And I'm not. I like the countryside. I like being close enough to the city that you can go in and visit, but not necessarily there. And so here, and actually further out than I ever imagined. So actually here, there's a real sense of, well, what's happiness for me? What is joy and success for me? Not what the media is trying to sell us, not what everybody else, has us think. If you buy this, if you do this, all of a sudden you're successful. If you have this title, you'll have a better life than a person who doesn't. It's like, no, this gets to be a beautiful sense of, where do I want my life to be? What do I want from my life? To embrace, to celebrate, to pass on to my children, or to see embraced and celebrated in the child of myself, in my inner child. How am I moving forward? Where do I want to be? What do I want to celebrate? Who am I? And there's a sense of glory here, but this glory, it's like every time we get a step forward, we're going to think, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I cut my nails today. There we go. We're going to think, no, it's silly. I'm just imagining things, or worried I'm getting older. This could never happen. This can never be me. I don't get to have this life. This is just for other people. It's like, stop. And I get that. I get if the clock is ticking, and the clock is always ticking, and how the world says you're supposed to do things by this time and by this time. And if we don't, it feels like, oh, I'll never get it. Why do others get to define us for us? The Eight of Swords is really looking at our doubts and our fears, our chaoses, and saying, why do I feel trapped when I'm not trapped? Because I was told I was trapped? Because I was told, oh, your feet are getting wet. But here, if you just go a little bit further, you'll drown. No, you won't. The water's not deep. It's just a little bit of a stream. Here, if I turn any which way, I could probably feel the swords at my back. But if I turn any which way, will it be cut? Will it be destroyed? Will it be over? No, walk forward. It's because we're not seeing clearly. It's because we feel bound by doubts, fears, chaoses, hurts, pains, disappointments, that we think, I can't. When in all actuality, yes, we can. And it moves us to having to face our nightmares, having to face the fears that have been born within us because we trusted the wrong people, or because the hurtful, spiteful people were put in our path, probably from a young age. And it's like, how do I transform from that? How do I still celebrate myself? How do I know who's going to celebrate me and who's going to celebrate me just long enough to leave me and hurt me? Life doesn't come with guarantees. And there's a sense here of really wanting guarantees. But the only guarantee we can have is in the ferocity of ourselves, in the seeing what we desire, seeing the truth that guides us, and celebrating who we are. Not who we will one day be, not who everybody else wants us to be, but who we are. And finding people who accept that, and accepting that within ourselves. And so this boldens us, this empowers us, this moves us forward in a profound way. And this is a time where we kind of start looking at our dreams just a bit more. And we start looking at ourselves more and saying, what makes me happy? And why is it that I think I can never get there? Now, if what makes us happy is having all the latest designer clothes and living in the penthouse and we're not financially there yet, that's one thing. But it's really boiling it down to, what do I need to be happy? What is it that I value the most? And what is it that I want within my life? It moves us then to the definition, to the defining factor of this reading. So Spirit defining this for us. Please define the reading for Aquarius, money and career. Please define the reading for Aquarius, money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. That's it. It is defined. This card doesn't want. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It is defined by us as a student. A student. Okay, so we'll hold these three up like this. We'll do this right now. We are represented by the swords in the minor arcana. We are represented by the star in the major arcana. To be defined as, this is a page of swords time. This is a time we learn how to use and wield the weapon of our intellect, of our speech, of our desire, of what we want, of what we're looking towards, of where we want to be. It opens up our minds in a very real way. It's the student card, it's the child card. We're going to find ourselves, and that can be why, that can be why the insecurities come up. Because children, even though we say children are resilient, that's where a lot of our traumas and dramas come from, that we tried to cope with our whole entire lives. That's where our coping mechanisms come from that may not always be the most healthy. And so here, with the Page of Swords, we are looking at what we deeply desire, where we deeply want to be, this fundamental truth of ourselves. And we're opening up the door to it. We're opening up the door to learn how to use the sword, how to use the power of the mind, the power of the voice, the power of the breath. And I have Wim Hof linked in the description box below. This is a sense of, there's power here. There's power in me that I haven't channeled yet, and that I might not even know how to channel. It moves us then to being a student of the Ten of Cups. Again, we have the Ten of Cups, which is the happiest card in the minor arcana. It's joy and it's prosperity and it's success and it's brilliance and it's comfort, and it's like everything that we dream of and everything that we want to be. So here, there's beauty coming forward, and we are becoming a student of that beauty that we want in our lives. And the Chariot, it's Cancer energy, yes, but it's also a sense of taking the reins and saying, subconscious and conscious self, I am moving me forward. I'm going after what I want. I'm going after what I need. I'm going after what I desire, and nothing and no one is going to hold me back. The charioteers were the emperors, the empresses, the pharaohs of the day. They were the rulers, the kings and the queens. So here we take in that knowledge, we embrace the royalty within ourselves, and we move ourselves forward in power and in distinction. Now our subconscious, not our subconscious, our spirit animal message for this time: Aquarius, money and career. Aquarius, money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Is the seahorse spirit. Watch and wait. It's not going to happen instantaneously. It'll actually feel like a painful, intense journey. But what we have to do here is watch and wait as things unfold. And that brings us to our subconscious spirit animal message, which is the hummingbird spirit. Be here now. Don't be in the past. Don't be in the future. Be here in the present. And enjoy this present. It's so easy to say. And it sounds condescending, like, oh, be here now. It's like, well, where the heck do you think I am? But so often, because we have this worry, because we have this fear, because we have this doubt, this anxiety over it, we're not here. We're in our own minds. We're stuck in this prison. And so what Spirit is saying is that these moments, they're gifts. Treat them as such. Connect with where we are. And if that means that we have to reevaluate things, look at things, be very open and honest with ourselves, be open about chronic pain, hurt, disappointment, devastations that we have been through, things that make it hard to trust, make it hard to open our souls and ourselves. That's important. And we need to be there for that. It leads us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is communication. This is the throat chakra, and it's knowing that we need to communicate openly and honestly with ourselves, our spirit guides, our connection with divinity. This is communicating with what we want from life, with who we are. As air sign energies, communication is very important to us. This is communicating on a higher level with those around us. We're picking up on a lot of things. So at this time, we can be communicating with somebody and they make a face, their body language is off, their tone is off. We're going to take it personally. It's not personal. What it is they're thinking about something else. They're working on something else. It can be personal. We can remind them of somebody they don't like. It's not our problem. That's theirs. So here with our communication, we're going to be taking in a lot. We have to make sure that we're not internalizing a lot. The subconscious message from the energy we need to be mindful of is Cernunnos. This is the Capricorn energy. This is the devil in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And Cernunnos isn't the devil, per se, isn't the accumulation of the devil that we have today. Cernunnos is the god of chaos. And that's important. So there's chaotic energy around us. And it doesn't care whether the outcome of what we've done is good or if it's bad. What it cares about is promoting the chaos, promoting the happenstance of life. And so here, we have to be very mindful of thinking fatalistically about things, of being bound to what causes chaos within our lives, doubts, fears, addictions, disabilities, everything that we can sit there and think, oh, this is a terrible, terrible thing that has happened to me. It is a thing that has defined us differently. It doesn't necessarily have to be the terrible thing that rips apart our lives. So here with Cernunnos, it's being very aware of this. Subconsciously, we're astoundingly aware of this, but we're also astoundingly aware of the energy that wants to pull us a different direction. And that's going to be something that we're fighting, and that could also be why we're so exhausted during this time or feel so overwhelmed, because we're fighting so hard. It leads us then to our subconscious definition message, which is the Four of Wands. Again, no, you don't. Yes, you do, right here. It's this celebration. It's this beauty of self. It's like, I've done this. I've moved forward this way. I've created this. And it's a sense of severe pride. It's like, I've done this beautiful thing. And I get to have that joy moving forward. So subconsciously, over all of this, there's a tremendous sense of joy and accomplishment. And it leads us to the Queen of Swords, the subconscious message for this whole entire reading, which is us becoming a queen, crowned with transformation, in our throne, seated upon transformation. We become the queen of our stories. So we move here from being the student, from being the learner to subconsciously being the ruler of this. The Queen of Swords, she doesn't play around. She knows what she wants. She knows where she's going. She can be a little bit more business-minded than others. It can seem that she's a little bit colder, and that's where the Queen of Swords kind of gets a bad rap. But the Queen of Swords isn't negative. It's astoundingly positive, because sometimes we have to be a little colder with things. We have to look at the logical side of things. We have to look not just reactionary, but powerfully and intuitively, and open up our world, open up our eyes, open up what we desire. And this is a time where we become that warrior queen, and we embrace that part of us, that sense of, I am doing this, I am moving forward this way, and I am conquering what once seemed insurmountable. All right, Aquarius, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we become the ruler of our story, as we become the queen of the tale. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius.